Watchtower.
Governor Mike Huckabee, who has been deeply involved for years with issues involving Israel, frequently visiting Israel and meeting with Israeli government officials at the highest levels. Governor Huckabee, your response to this breaking news today?
Sandra, I am so outraged I can't even hardly contain myself. What Obama did today was basically extend a real nice final farewell and wave to Israel and to Prime Minister Netanyahu. He just bothered to use one finger in the middle of his hand to do it. This is the most amazing position he could have taken. If Donald Trump gets to, the first thing he does, I hope, is send some jackhammers over to Turtle Bay neighborhood in Manhattan and jackhammer the whole United Nations off into the East River and float it to wherever it needs to go. But this is an insult, not just to Israel, but this is an insult to every person who loves freedom. And when people use the term settlements, they may think of the Israelis building, a bunch of tents or mobile homes. These settlements are communities and neighborhoods with schools and curbs and gutters and synagogues and shops and permanent structures where people live and raise their families. And Judea and Samaria belong to Israel. Obama is even saying that the Western Wall ought to be part of territory that's given back. This is insane. This is so beyond anything we've seen in 40 years. It's just stunning.
Well, let me tell you the first thing that the president-elect did do, Donald Trump tweeting out after the vote, as to the UN, things will be different after January 20th. What do you expect the president-elect to do? What will his response be, or should it be, Governor Huckabee?
I think he ought to say that we're not going to continue to spend money funding the UN if they're going to be doing stupid and, frankly, idiotic things that are hurtful to any hope of peace. There's no peace ever going to happen from going along with the state-sponsored terrorist of Iran. Here's what we've done, Sandra. For the past few years under this administration, we have been kissing the backside of the Iranians, the largest sponsor of terrorism in the world, and we have been kicking the backside of the only real, true, loyal friend we have in the entire Middle East, the Israelis. Now, somebody explain why that makes any sense, even in a world of insanity like we sometimes see in the diplomatic world. This doesn't make sense. It's a clear indication that President Obama, no matter what he says, clearly is not cordial or even supportive of the free and democratic process of peace that lives in Israel right now.
Let me share with you
the
words of one Israeli official prior to the vote happening, slamming President Obama as well as Secretary of State John Kerry for being behind what he calls a shameful move against Israel at the UN. He called this an abandonment of Israel, which breaks decades of U.S. policy. Obviously, this makes an already icy relationship with the U.S. and Israel even icier.
Well, it's interesting that even leading Democrats like Chuck Schumer and others, I think Sherrod Brown from Ohio, have also said this is not a good policy. This is not a good position. This is not about partisanship. This isn't Democrat versus Republican. This is about common sense versus insanity. And for President Obama to push a policy that embraces the Iranians and then goes and brushes back our one true friend, and to somehow pretend that Israel doesn't have a right to protect themselves, to live in a secure environment, a place for their people to live. And Judea and Samaria are not illegal territories. They are the God-given boundaries that Israel has rightfully taken possession of.
It'll be interesting to see what Chuck Schumer's response is now of an administration that he's been so supportive of, knowing that right before the vote, he said he had spoken to the administration numerous times, Governor, as recently as this morning, the morning of the vote, and in the strongest term possible urged them to veto this resolution. So this will continue. Governor Huckabee, thank you for being here.